Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are doing absolutely well. Guys, in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything that you need to know about React Router. That is all in one go. This is going to be a complete mini course where we will be discussing all the separate topics which you need to know about React Router, starting from what is actually a React Router and what is the need for it. Then we will be seeing how can we set up our own React Router. Then we will be seeing some basic routing with browser router, what are routes, and then route. We will be creating our own header for our website. Then what if some page does not exist in our website? Then in that case we also need to create an error page or a 404 page. We will be creating that. After that we will be seeing nested routing, that is if we have one page inside another page, how can we set up the routing for that. Moving on, we will be seeing navigation links and active class, then layouts and index routes, dynamic routes, and optional segments. Basically we will be covering every topic that is possible in React Router. And once you watch this video, there will be nothing left from React Router which you need to study. And the best part about this thing is after discussing one single topic, we will also be discussing an important interview question related to that topic. So this way you will be super prepped for your upcoming interviews also. So now guys, before we start, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing to the channel, and also if you are finding this video helpful, please give it a like. Also, I will be leaving all the important links in the description box, like GitHub repository, code link, and everything that you need to have. Okay, so let's get started now. Hi guys, welcome to the first video of our React Router series. Okay, in this video, first of all, we will be understanding what is React Router and what is the need for it. And after having the basic knowledge of React Router and its need, from next video we are going to start the setup process, and in the upcoming videos we are going to learn more one by one topic on React Router. So first of all, let's discuss what we are going to study in this video. We are going to see what is React Router. Then we are going to understand why do we use routing in React app, what was the need for it, right? Because in usual apps we do not do a separate routing, right? We have separate pages for it. So what is that the need of routing is there here. Okay, why do we need React Router? And finally we are also going to see one important interview question on this topic. So first of all, let us understand what is React Router. React Router basically is a routing library that we use in React application. Now, when I say routing library, which means it is an external package. It does not we do not write the code for it from scratch in our code. We just import the library and then make use of it. Okay, the features provided by that library. You will get to know more about it once you see more videos on this. Okay. It enables single page application behavior. So guys, as we all know that via React we make single page applications. Now in single page application, what happens is that there is only one page on your website and you have to show multiple pages in your website. So in order to do that, what we do is we make use of React Router. Like in order to give you one example, what I will do is I will take you to react.dev website, and if you see, this is a single page application website. Okay, and these are different pages in it. So when I say different pages, what is happening over here is that I'm even switching my pages, but if you notice here on this refresh icon, it is not refreshing. Okay, when I'm moving from one page to another. So this is only what is called a single page. We have created an app which is super fast because it is single page, everything is happening on the same page, whereas we are rendering different pages as components via React Router. Okay, so that is what we are going to learn in this series. Help switch components based on the URL without reloading the page. So what does this mean? So if you see, when I'm switching the components, okay, here where I'm switching from one to another, just notice the URL. Okay, when right now I am on react.dev/reference/react. Now it is changed to community. Now it is changed to blog. So in this way, based on the URL, without reloading the page, we are switching the components. Commonly used in real world apps like dashboards, e-commerce, etc. So guys, you can also understand if your app is a little big, okay, and it has multiple pages, so you want to render or you want to switch between pages, then this is very important to understand routing, and this is also very important when it comes to interview topics. So why, now the question arises, why we should use React Router? Okay, so first of all, it enables multiple pages in a React application, which we have already seen via an example. Next is it provides clean URL based navigation, which I just showed you, right? It also supports dynamic routing, private routes, nested routes. So guys, these are some of the concepts which we are going to see one by one in the upcoming videos. Okay, so you will get to know more about it. Next is seamless user experience without full reloads. So guys, you have seen the performance of the application when I was switching from one page to another. It happens within like seconds, right? And the page does not even loads, right? Whereas if you might have observed this in the old applications which were built using plain JavaScript or plain HTML, CSS, there used to be a lot of loading time that it used to take. So this is also one of the important features, that it provides a seamless user experience without full reloads. Now comes to the interview question. Okay, so guys, I will be creating these videos in such a way that after studying every topic, we will be discussing one interview question, so that you will also be interview ready. So the question that we have for today is, how does React router differ from traditional routing in multi-page application? So the answer for this will be, React router enables client-side routing. Okay, unlike traditional routing where each navigation triggers a full page reload, React router updates the URL and renders the component without reloading the page, preserving the state and improving the performance. So basically, guys, this answer contains all these, all these things only which we have discussed in the why we should use React router. The same thing we have told in a paragraph way. But I hope you have understood now what is React router. Hi guys, welcome back. So now that we have understood what React router is, let's dive deep into it and let's set up the React router for us. Let's see what we are going to see in this video. First of all, we are going to set up our React application. Then we will be installing React router inside that. Then we will be setting up browser router. We will be seeing what is root and routes, and we will be creating different pages. And then we will be implementing routing inside our application. So as a first step, what I will be doing is I will be going to my React to my VS Code, and then I will be setting up my React application basically. So I am going to write the command npm create vite. So we are going to use vite to create our React application. Okay, and it will ask me the project name. So I'm going to name it as React router. You can name anything according to you, and tutorial. Okay, something like this. Then I'm going to use React for the framework and JavaScript for the variant. Now it is telling me to run these three commands. Basically, the first command is to change the directory. Currently, I am in the parent directory, which is desktop. So I need to change it to React router tutorial. This one. Now I'm in the directory. I need to run to the command npm install. I'll do that. Now I will run the command npm run dev. So now you can see our app is running on localhost 5173. Let's have a look. So you can see our React application is set up. So as a first step, it is done. Second step was to install React router. For that, what we will do is we need the command, right, to install the React router. So I will showcase you how you can do that. There is a direct command, but instead of showing you directly, I will show you from where you can get that. Once you will search for React router, you can go to this website and you can go to the documentation part. In the data mode, you will find installation part. Okay, here you will see the command for it. Okay, so npm install React router is the command that we need to use. Let's use that. So I will run one more PowerShell and I will run the command over there. Okay, so npm I React router. So if you see, when we will go to package.json, you can see the current version or the latest version of React router, okay, which is 7.7.0. Now what? Now as a step 3, what we need is we need to set up the browser router. So how do we do that? For that, what we need to do is we need to go to the place where our app component is getting called, and in our code the app component is getting rendered here. First of all, I don't need this strict mode, so I will remove these two lines. Okay, and then I would need to wrap my app component with browser router. So I would need browser router basically. So browser router from React router. Okay, saving this line, and then I will be wrapping it around here. Okay, I need to wrap my app component with browser router, saving this one. So now if you see, your app should not break. Okay, if your app is breaking, which means there is some problem. So since our app is not breaking, everything, the setup is done correctly. Okay, now before we do anything else, I want to clean up some things. Okay, I don't want some extra things which are there. So I will first of all remove this strict mode which is getting imported here. Then I don't need this CSS file getting imported. Okay, saving this file, I will go to my app.js. I will remove everything. Okay, I don't want this, whatever Vite is giving us. What I will do is I will create a div and just write a h1 which will say React router setup, something like that. Okay, saving this one. I don't want this state which was getting used previously. I don't want any of these things. So my basic cleanup is done. Let's see how our app is looking right now. Okay, so you can see our app is looking like this. So we have done the first steps, right? Like setting up our React application, installing the React router, setting up browser router. Now what we will be doing is we will be creating two pages. Okay, first is the home page and about page. And what I want is in the URL, when I type like this thing, then it should take me to the home page. Okay, and when I type about page, okay, then it should take me the about page. Right now we have not set up anything, so it is not working. Let's see how we can do this. Okay, so for that what I need is, first of all, I will be creating two files. Okay, one is my home.js and one is my about.js. okay, those will be our components. So home.jsx. okay, and instead of home I just want it to say this is home page. Okay, this is home page, this will say that. And then I also want one more component which will be about. So about.jsx. now here also I will just write the basic code snippet, and what it should say is this is about component. Okay, this is about page. Done. So far we are done. Now what we will be doing is we will be importing these two inside our app component, because in order to set up the routes we need these, right? So about, and I will also need import home. Okay, so now we have imported both of this. Now how to set up the routing? Basically, in order to set up the routing we will need two things. One is routes and one is route. Okay, so I will import routes. Okay, you can see it is giving me suggestions, so you can import it in this way. From React router you will be getting that, and then there is something called as route. Okay, so you need this also from your React router. Basically, what are these? So basically routes is your wrapper around your route. Okay, so how we will use this is here, if you go, I will write routes. Okay, routes is basically your parent container for all the route definitions, and inside that we will have one individual routes that we will define. Okay, so I don't want it like this, I want it as a self-closing tag. Okay, and here it will take two attributes, you can say, that is path. Path will basically tell on which particular path which component should render. Okay, so path is in the URL I want that when I hit this thing, that is just one slash, my home page should render, right? So in the element attribute we will show what our home. Okay, right, we have already imported the home component. So in this way, when I will go and run this thing now, this is saying this is the home page, right? And this React router setup will always show, because this I have added at component level, app component level. Okay, now what is the second route that we want to display? So for that what I will do is route, self-closing it. Path that I want is about. Okay, so about, and then element that I want is about component. So I'm just writing this one, saving it. Now see, the home component is by default, and by default our app is having this thing. Okay, so don't think that why, if I have not added a slash, why still it is showing this is home page. So by default this slash is the home for the home URL itself. Okay, and now when I will write about, you can see it is showing me about page, which means our routing setup is perfectly done and we have followed all the steps. That is, first initially we have set up our React application, we have installed React router, set up our browser router, defined basic routes using route and routes, and then we have created the components also, that is our home component and pages. So guys, this was the important setup. Okay, I hope you will do it. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. Now one important interview question related to this, that is, what is the difference between route and routes in React router? Let's understand. So guys, routes is a container component. It looks through all the child root elements and renders the first one that matches the current URL. So for example, in the URL, when we will type /about, it will go one by one through each root and will match which path is exactly matching, and once it matches the path, it will render that component. Okay, and each individual root defines a specific path and the component to render. So basically this is the code snippet for which the question was. Okay, so I hope it is clear now. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So guys, those of you who are following this React Router version 7 tutorial series on my channel, I just want to tell you one thing, that if you want to access any code that I am teaching in any of the videos, how can you access that? Basically, I am uploading all the videos, all the codes that we are coding in the video on my GitHub repository. And how can you access that? First thing is that, for example, if you watch a particular video, for example this video, you have to go to that video and you have to go to the description box of this video. Okay, there you will be finding code link. Okay, when you click on this code link, it will be taking you to that exact commit. Okay, and you will be getting the exact code that we are doing in that video. This is one way. Another way is that on my GitHub repository, you will find a repository called as React Router. In that, you can go to this commit sections also. Okay, there you will find all the commits. Okay, and they are they are named very meaningfully so that you can understand it very easily. For example, tutorial 2 we were setting up, tutorial 3 basic routing using browser router link, tutorial 4 is creating an app bar, tutorial 5 is 404 pages using React Router. So in this way you can access any particular commit also, and if you want to see the entire code for the project, you can go to this code section and the source folder. There you will find all the files, okay, which we have coded so far. So guys, just this much I just wanted to tell you that how can you access the code that we are doing in the videos. If you have any doubts, please put them in the comment section. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we will be breaking down how routing works. Basically we will be learning basic routing with React Router. Okay, so while doing that we will understand what is browser router, what is routes, route, link component, everything we will be discussing. So before we start, let's understand what we are going to cover up in this video. So we are going to see what is browser router first of all, then we are going to understand what is route and routes, then we are going to understand what is link component, then we are going to set up basic routing for pages. We are going to do it practically so that you get to know how you can actually do it in your project. Then we are going to create separate files for links, and then finally interview question we are going to look at. So let's see, first of all, before we directly dive deep into the code, let's understand few of the terminologies which will be helpful for you going forward. Okay, so see guys, what is browser router first of all? So it is a component that enables client-side routing in a React app using HTML5 history API. It's a wrapper that lets you use routes and links. Without it, routing won't work. So guys, there is a lot of information in this line. First of all, what is client-side routing? So in the last video, I have also given you this example that when you go to react.dev website, if you see this type of routing which is happening, this is called as client-side routing. You will notice that the page is not at all getting refreshed. Whereas if I will take you to a site like amazon.com, just notice when I am changing my navigation, the entire website is getting refreshed. Okay, you can see it is getting refreshed. So this is called as server-side rendering. Okay, whereas on the client-side rendering, everything is happening on a single page application and it does not refreshes the page. Okay, so if you want to implement routing on your application, you need to wrap your component main component or app with the browser router, you can say that. Okay, so that is what it is written here, that it's a wrapper that lets you use routes and links. Without it, routing won't work in your application. Okay, now moving on, what is route and route? Basically what is routes and route? Okay, so basically routes is like a container for all your route definition. So there is a container like this, okay, routes, and inside that there will be one individual route. Okay, like, so what the work of this route is, route will basically define the actual path and component to render. So we have already seen this syntax in the last video. We will see it in more detail in today's video also. So in this way you will mention the path on which you want to, like, you know, on a particular path which component should render, so you mention it in this way. Okay, now you might be thinking, what is the actual usage of this routes? So guys, you must have studied the concept of switch case, right? Like how switch case works, like you have different cases, and whichever cases match, that particular code runs, right? So same is the case here, that routes is handling different or multiple route inside it, and it basically matches your URL path. Okay, and whichever matches, then it renders that component. So I hope you understood. Individual route is basically to set the path and element or component for that particular path, but routes is handling multiple routes. Okay, moving on, what is link? Now link is an important component, and in fact all these things that we are studying, this browser router, this routes and route, and this link, all are React components only. Okay, nothing else. So which are provided to us by React Router. Now link, what is link? Okay, so instead of using anchor tags that reload the page, React Router gives us link to navigate without refreshing. It keeps the app smooth and a single page application like. I'll make you understand in easier terms what it means is, like, guys, understand one thing, that when we implement a application, okay, for example, React dev / community is giving me this page which is React community page. On the other hand, React dev / reference React is giving me this page. Now it is very easy for me to navigate when I'm clicking on these buttons, right? On the other hand, what if I just have to remember all of this? Okay, like I don't know what button, there is no button on the website. I just have to remember that, you know, if I will go to this path, this will open, and if I will type community, then this will open. This is not very user friendly, right? So you always, what we do is we keep some buttons on the website so that when we click on it, automatically the path should update, and based on that path the page should load. Okay, that is what the concept of links. Okay, now, but you might think that, you know, why are we doing this with a separate link component? We already have anchor tags, right, for that, and we can use anchor tags, and that will also do the same purpose. So that is what is explained here, that when you do this with anchor tag, you end up having situation something like this, where the entire page will load, and you don't want your page to load, right, in your this one React application. You want that it should be treated as a single page application. So that is why what you do is you make use of this link component, which is provided to you by the React router. Okay, and this is how the syntax of link component looks like. Basically your text will go in between, and you basically mention the path, okay, which you want it to, like, which the path which you want that the URL should be updated with. For example, when I click on contact, my URL should be updated with /contact. Okay, so this is the major concepts. I hope now it is clear. Now before we move on forward, let's what we are going to do is we are going to do all of this in the code. Okay, so let me go to my code editor. Okay, here I am in the code editor now. What I will be doing first of all is let's first of all run our application. Okay, so I am going to run npm run dev. Okay, and this will like run my application on localhost. So for understanding, what I have done is better understanding, I have created this simple structure. Okay, where what is happening is we don't have anything as of now, no routing, nothing. We are going to start from scratch. I just have an application which is React application, and I'm just showing a basic text on the screen. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to first go to our main component, and we are going to wrap it inside our app component inside the browser router, because we have already seen the importance of browser router, right? So you can see import browser router from React router. Okay, and here I am going to write browser router, and this is how my this one, and I'm going to put my app component inside my browser router. Okay, then so far so good, and let's see, by refreshing the app it is not breaking, which means it is working absolutely fine. Now what is our main goal? Now let's understand what we are going to achieve in this example or application. We are going to create first of all 3 pages. Okay, I'm going to write it over here so that you can understand better. We are going to have 3 pages first of all. Okay, what are those 3 pages going to be? So the pages are going to be our home page, about page, and then one more page we are going to create, which is login page. Once the pages are created, these pages are nothing but the components in itself. Okay, so once these are created, we will be setting up routing for them. Okay, and once routing is also set up, we will also be setting up links for them. Okay, so let's do this one by one. First of all, as a step 1, I'm going to create these 3 components. Okay, so I'm just going to create my normal React component. So I will start first with home.jsx. Okay, and AFCE, this will give me the basic component. Then the next component that I'm going to create is about.jsx. Okay, RAFCE, and next component that I'm going to create is login.jsx. Okay, now what I will do is, instead of writing this just one word, I will write this is home page to make it more meaningful and readable for us, and I will make it as a H1 so that, you know, it looks big. And this thing I will do same in all the 3 components that I have, okay, created. So here also, instead of div, we are going to have this is about us page. Okay, something like this. Then next is our login page. So here also I will be doing the same thing. This is login page. So guys, if you see right now, we have created 3 pages. What I will be doing is I will be going to my app component, and I will be importing all these 3 pages. Okay, so import home, and then next that we are going to have is import about. Next step we are going to have is import login. Okay, so we have imported all the 3 pages. Now the next step is to set up routing for all of them. How we are going to do is, we have already seen in the previous video, we need 2 things. Basically, we need root and we need roots. Okay, so first thing is we need roots, and one more thing that we need is root for all the individual roots basically. Okay, so here I'm going to create the parent wrapper, which is going to be routes, and inside this our individual route will go. Okay, so as of now, the first route I'm going to set up, and this will take two things as we have already seen in the syntax, the path. So first, for home page, I just want to give the path as a slash, and the element is going to be home page. Okay, home component basically, which we have created. Okay, in the similar way, I am going to create two more routes. Okay, two more route, which is for my like login component and my about component. So for this one, I'm going to put about, and here what I need in the path is, when my path is about, then please render my about component. Okay, and for home, the h needs to be capitalized, and for this one, I need my login component to render when my path is slash login. Okay, so far we have like set up the routing. Let's go to our web browser and let's see. I'm going to refresh the application. You can see by default it is showing this is home page, because as I already told you in the previous video, slash means it will by default show your home page. Okay, so this is how it is working. When you don't add anything, which means you are showing which means you are showing slash. Okay, you can understand in that way. Now let's try to change the path. Okay, so I'm going to put it like about. It is showing me this is about us page. Now what I will be doing is I will be putting my other route, which is login, and this is showing me login page. As of now, if you have observed that this is taking a lot of, like, it is not possible in a large application that you always type your routes in the browser URL, right? So you need some buttons, okay, via which you can click, and then automatically your URL will be updated and your new page will be opened. So let's do that now. So for that, I told you we have a component called as link component, which we get from React router. Okay, so this is what the component is, link component. And how does this work? Let me show you. So inside my div only, I will be creating like basically s3. Okay, and inside that I will be having a link, and in this link I need some text. Okay, basically, so first text is going to be home. Okay, and it expects an attribute called as to. Inside this we have to mention the path. Okay, so the path is going to be this one. Okay, this is extra curly bracket. So let's save it, and in the same way I am going to create three links. Okay, so 1, 2 and 3, and first one was home, second is about, and third one is login. And I just want that when I click on about, my URL should be updated with about. Okay, I hope you are understanding what is the need of all of this. Okay, and saving it, let's go to our application. You can see I've got three links. Okay, when I click on login, you will notice that this got updated to slash login, and my page also got updated. When I click on about, it is happening for same for that also. Okay, and home, it is happening same for this also. And you might also notice that our application is not getting refreshed because we are using link component instead of anchor tag. Okay, so this is what we have achieved. Now one more step further. Usually we don't put links like this. Okay, this is a part of navigation bar, right? So what we can do is we can create a separate nav bar. Okay, so navbar.jsx, this is basically a React component I'm creating, and let me export also. Export default navbar. Okay, and here inside this one I'm going to write that logic, okay, or that code which I have written there. So this is basically the separation of concern. We are not writing too much of code inside our app component, because this way it is much readable. And now what I will be doing is I will be importing my navbar here. Okay, so I will import my navbar here, and I will just write it like this. Okay, now it will break. Okay, as of now it will break, because why? So we are using links, but we have not imported it yet, right? So we need to import link in our navbar component also. Now let's go and see. Everything should run fine, and if you can notice here, everything is working just smoothly, right? So in this one single video, we have learned a lot of things. Let's get back to our that slide. So here, if you see what all we have studied so far, we have first of all understood what is browser router. We have seen what is route and routes. We have then understood what is link component, and then we have set up our basic routing for three different pages. That was our home page, our about us page, and then login page. Okay, and then we have also created a separate file for links, which was our navbar. Okay, and now it's the time for us to look at one interview question, which is kind of important based on this concept. Let's see what is the question. Why do we use link instead of anchor in React router? I hope by now you already got the answer for it, because we have already discussed this in the video. So the answer for this is because link prevents full page reloads and ensures smooth navigation using React's virtual DOM. It maintains SPA behavior, SPA as in single page application behavior. Hello everyone, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to create header using React router. Basically, let's first of all understand what we are going to do in this video, and then we will be moving towards the code. So first of all, we are going to write the HTML or structure code for our header. Then we are going to add links into our header. Then we will be writing CSS for the header, and then finally we will be looking at one important interview question. So let's do the step one, which is writing the HTML structure for header. And guys, if you are aware, till last video we have written this code, okay, where we had the links. Okay, we have already created the links and it was working fine, but these were like random scattered links. Okay, we want them to be properly put it into the header basically. So let's go to our component. This was the navbar component that we have created. So instead of having these things, I will be just removing them, and I will be first of all writing just simple text hello. Let's see. So see, right now my hello text is displaying. Now I want to make this as a proper header. So what I will be doing is I need a parent wrapper which will be my header. Okay, so I'm giving the class name header. This class name will be useful for us when we will style the header. Okay, then inside this I want two divs. Okay, first div and second div. I'll explain you why we want two divs. First, basically the first div will contain our logo, okay, which will be displayed on this side. So the logo will be displayed on the left hand side, and there will be three links which will be displaying on the right hand side. Okay, so that is why I have taken two divs. Now in the first div we are going to have a link component, because our logo will also be a link. Okay, basically whenever we click on the logo, it should be redirecting us somewhere. Okay, and then in the same way for div we are going to have this type of structure where we will be having one unordered list, and there will be three list items into that, and these three list items will be our links. Okay, so in order to make the list items as links, I will basically put a link tag over here, and then I will do the same for all the list items basically. Okay, so copying it and putting it over here, and then doing the same over here too. Now let me add the text in the link. Okay, first of all it should say like home, okay, then about, and then one more which will be login. Let's save and see. So as of now we have got the structure something like this. Till now it will not work because we have not given the links anywhere. So first of all, before doing anything, let us set up our UI of this one header basically. So how our UI is going to look like, let's see. So in order to set up the UI, what I will be doing is I will be giving the classes. Okay, so I already have one class which is header. So for that, what I will be doing is I will create one new file which will be called as navbar.css. okay, so navbar.css, okay, and then here we will be writing header. Okay, and then instead of writing that CSS directly over here, what I will be doing is I will be first writing the basic CSS in my inspect tool, and then whatever the finalized CSS I have, I will be taking that inside my code. Okay, this is the best way of writing CSS basically. So that way you won't make much mistakes, and you will see in real time how the data is getting displayed. So see, first of all guys, what we want is I want that there should be a display of flags. Okay, I want to apply. Let's see. So when I'm applying display flags, you might have noticed that the text is going side by side. Okay, this is what we want. Now what is the other thing that we want? We want that justify content and then space between. Okay, so that both the things should display side by side. Okay, one on the left hand and one on the right side. So this is what we want so far. Now what is the other thing that we want? I want that there should be a background color. Okay, so I will give a background color to my this one. Background color of like some basic light, yeah, aqua white is fine for now, antique white is fine for now. So this much is finalized for me. So I will just copy it from here and I will take it to my code editor. I will paste this CSS so it got finalized. Okay, because it is now finalized. Let's see how is it looking now. See, it is looking pretty decent. One thing you might have noticed that there is some extra margins which is coming here. Okay, and this is from where? This is the basic which is coming from your body. So what we will be doing is we will just set that for body we don't want any margin which is pre-applied, and same goes for the padding also. Okay, so I will just put this 0. So now if you see, everything will stick. Okay, I might not have saved the file. Let me see. Okay, is my header class spelling not correct? Okay, I need to import my file actually, otherwise it won't apply. Okay, so that is why it is not applying. So I need to import my navbar.css that I have created. Okay, so if you see now this CSS is getting applied, we will fix it more. First of all, let's increase the text of logo. So where we have written the logo, we have written it here. So what I can do is maybe like, I can put it inside a H1, so that not H1 but H2, so that it looks a bit larger. Okay, let's see logo. Okay, so far it is fine. And then now let's again get back to the styling part. So what we want is, I don't want the underlines to be there in this links. Okay, so what I can do is, wherever my link component is getting used, I will give a class name, okay, which will be link, and then I can style it using this class name itself. So I can copy this one and I can put this over at these three places also. Okay, so now my what I can do is, I can go to my navbar and I can do this, that wherever this link class is there, okay, there you make the text decoration as none. Okay, using this we can remove the underlines. Okay, so now it is looking fine. Now if you notice in this part, okay, these three are coming one after the other. I don't want this. Okay, so how can I target this? First of all, so in order to target this, what we want to do is, in our header we have unordered list. Okay, so we will write the CSS for it there. So I will just copy this header and then dot header and then unordered list. Inside this I will be writing my class. Okay, so instead of again writing it here, I will show you by writing it here on the inspect tool. So if you notice, we have this here and I will be writing my CSS here. What I want is, I want my list style type to be none. Okay, so this bullets will not show. So see, now you can see bullets are gone. On the other hand, I also want that these three should be showing in one single line. So for that, what I will write is display flex again. Okay, with that these will show in one single line. Now all are sticking, so I will just give a fixed width to the entire container of this UL. So like for example 200 pixels as of now. So this is fine. Now there is some gap between, I need some gap between them. So I will do something like justify content and then space evenly is something that we have. Okay, when I do that, so everything will space evenly. So see, so far it is looking good. I will just copy this much of styles and again going to paste it into my VS Code. Okay, and guys, I would highly recommend you that you also like do your CSS in this way, because it is very fast and you will get the real-time updates. Now before we move forward, these things are like sticking. Okay, the logo is, text is sticking. For that, what I will be doing is, I will be giving some padding in my parent container. Okay, I want to just give the padding on the left and right, so I'm just writing on it on the left and right and not on the top and bottom. So now you see it is looking good. But now one thing you notice, that this is coming in the center. Okay, but this is a little bit up. Like basically I want this logo and home, about, login, all the text to be in one line. So how can we do that? Okay, so for that we have something called as align item center. Okay, so where we need to apply align item center is, I think here it will work. So let's see, when I do this, you might notice now everything is looking properly in one single line. Okay, so far our header is like, look wise it is pretty decent. Now let's focus on the functionality. Okay, so how we will focus on the functionality, let's see that now. When I click on it, what I want is that it should redirect me to a correct page. Okay, so as of now you can see that I have not added any links. Okay, so I will give the 2 for home. I want that it should be redirect. When I click on the logo, it should redirect on the home page. In the same way, when I click on, again, home is again the same thing only. Later on we will remove this home, but for now we are just again redirecting to home. Then what we have is about. So when I click on about, it should redirect me to the about page. When I click on my this one login, it should redirect me to the login page. Let's see, so far is it looking good? So I got my page. Okay, let's see, when I click on home, it is redirecting me to the home page, then about page, and then login to login page. So far it is looking good. Again, when I click on logo, it is redirecting me to the home page. Okay, so functionality wise our app is working properly. Now there is a lot more to achieve. Now since our header is set up in this video, going forward we will be learning one by one concepts in React Router, and then we will be implementing this all those concepts in this header itself. Okay, So now let us go back to our slide and let's see what we have covered so far. We have written the basic HTML or structure code for header. We have added links in the header, and we have written also the CSS for the header. Now one important interview question that we need to discuss now is what happens if a user navigates to a route that is not defined in React router, and how can you handle such cases? So maybe if this line is too confusing for you to read, I will show you with practical. Okay, for example, let's understand that I have not given any to for it. Okay, let's suppose this as of now. Okay, and or no, let's understand that I have given a to instead of home. I don't want first of all home, so I will just remove this home. Okay, and instead of home I will take one more link, okay, which will be called as tutorial. Okay, in my navbar there is one more text which is called as tutorial. Okay, tutorials basically, and what this tutorial will redirect to, it will redirect to tutorial. Okay, this one. Okay, like basically when I click on this tutorials button, it will update my URL to have this /tutorial. But since in my app.js I am not defining a route for it, okay, let's see what happens in that case. So that is what the question is asking, that what happens if a user navigates to a route that is not defined in React router, and how can you handle such cases? So we have created a route, okay, which is /tutorial, okay, and this is not defined, right? So see what is happening, nothing is displaying, okay, it is showing us blank screen. So how can we handle this case? So let's see the answer for this question. In React router, if a user tries to access a route that is not defined, nothing will be rendered by default. The app won't crash, but the user may see a blank page, and that is what is happening in our case, right? When I'm clicking on this tutorial, the URL is getting updated with /tutorial, but I'm not seeing anything on the screen because I have not defined my route in this case. So how can you handle this cases properly? So to handle this case gracefully, we can define a catch-all route using path equals to star at the end of a routes block. This will match any undefined paths and typically render a not found or 404 page component. Now guys, as of now you cannot understand this answer, I know that very well. What I will be doing is I will be creating a separate next video on this topic itself, which will be how to handle 404 page or how to handle error page. Basically one thing you might be thinking that we can create one news page or component, right? How we have created for login and about, and in the same way we can redirect our tutorial route to that. Yes, that is totally fine, but I am talking about a case where we don't want to create a separate page. Okay, because see, in this way you cannot create uncountable number of pages. Like for example, what if a user is typing something random in the URL, right? In that case also that is a breaking link, right? It should show something that the link that you are trying to access does not exist, or something 404 page basically. That is what we are trying to aim here. Okay, so this concept we are going to learn in next video, where I will be telling you that whenever you try to put a URL which does not exist, what should happen in that case. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to see how are we going to handle error 404 and what is actually a 404 page. So guys, let's understand what we are going to discuss in today's video. First of all we will be understanding what is actually a 404 page and what is it needs. Okay, then we are going to see making route for 404 page, then we are going to see creating customized 404 page, then we will be redirecting from 404 page, and then finally an interview question based on that. Now guys, at this point of time it might seem a bit complex, but it is very easy. Let's understand and let's go through each one by one. So first of all, let us understand what is a 404 basically page is. Okay, so it appears basically when a user tries to visit a route that does not exist. So in our last video I have shown you that this was our app, right? And till now for tutorials we have not created any component or any separate page. So if you see, and we have not even set up the route for tutorial, right? Now in the same way, if I take you to the home page and if I put any random URL, okay, anything, then you can see it will give me a blank page. So this is the default behavior, that if you have not set up any route, okay, any specific route for what you are typing in the URL, then it will give you a blank page. So in order to handle this, because this is not a very good user experience, right? If someone wants to go to login, right? So if they type login, okay, and while typing some random key got pressed with them, okay, like A, then they hit enter, so it will just show them a blank page. Now as an end user it is very confusing, right, that why it is showing as a blank page, because they might not notice that some extra key is pressed or the URL is not proper, right? So in that case it is a good idea to show a error page or a 404 page which tells them that you are not on the correct path, or the page that you are looking for does not exist, right, on this application. So that is what is a 404 page. Let's go through the points. It appears when a user tries to visit a route that does not exist. It helps improve user experience by avoiding blank pages, and it can be customized to guide users back to valid pages. Okay, so let's try to first of all make the route for 404 page, because as I told you, right now there is no route exist for 404. Whenever I try to print try to enter any random URL, it gives me blank page. So let's create a route first of all for 404. How do we do that? So in order to create a route for 404, it is just simple that we just write route, okay, and then simply closing it. Now how do we make sure that it is a route related to 404? Basically we want to tell that whatever the URL that you type apart from any specific URL, okay, so we mention it using like this, okay, slash star, and then what is the element that I want to display in that case. So for that purpose, what we are going to do, first of all, I'm going to, for showcase purpose, I'm going to show you that what we can do like is, we can even do something like this, okay, like I'm going to show just some basic JSX on the screen, that error page, okay. Let's save and go there. And now if you see, if I put some any random URL, okay, it will give me the text error page. But guys, this is not a good idea to just directly showcase JSX on your browser. Instead of it, how we usually do is we create a component, right? So here in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component which will be called as my error page. Any name you can give it, okay, any meaningful name. So this is just a normal React component that I've created. I'll just write the basic React core here, and instead of I'll try to make it as meaningful as possible, okay. So I can write something like this, okay. Oops, you might have seen this text on a lot of websites, right? Oops, the page does not exist, okay. Or you can write something like, oops, the page you are looking for does not exist, okay. And in the second line we can write something like error 404, okay. So now instead of directly showcasing the JSX, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my app component. I am going to import my nav, not nav, but this error page component which I've recently created. And whenever this thing hits any random URL or any page that does not exist, I want that it should show my this error page component, okay. So let's see how we are handling this one. Now you can see, since this page does not since this route does not exist, what it has done is it has given the message which we have, okay, like the page does not exist, error 404. Now let's try to make it or customize this error page a bit more, okay, because right now it is not very good, I would say. So first of all, okay, let me bring this to center. So how I will do this is I will just write a style tag, okay, and in React I'm just writing inline CSS, so text align center. This will bring the text to center on the page, right? If you see now usually you might have seen a lot of images when you will go to any I'll show you basically how a 404 page looks like, okay. So this type of see this type of pages it shows, right, which is very good when you see on the website. So we can also create one such 404 page where there is also some basic image, okay. So let's try to do that basically. So the text I will keep it like this only, okay. I want to show this text. Below this I just want to show an image, okay. For that what I'm going to do is I have already downloaded a image. This is not just a static image, this is a .gif file, okay, and I have just dragged and dropped it here in my project. Now what I need to do is, in order to showcase it on my error page, I'm going to write import and any text, okay, like which I'm going to use this, okay. So for example, just notice what I'm doing, error image, okay, or like 404 image. This is just a customized text that you are writing for yourself, okay. It does not mean anything, but instead of 404 I prefer error image better, because 404 is starting with a number and we don't want to confuse anything. So see, import error image from, then we have to give the path of the image. Now it might not pick up directly, so you have to just type it, okay, like the exact path which is the file name, and then saving this file. Now I want to show this below this text, right? So I'm just going to use the image tag, and in the source, okay, I'm going to use this text, okay. So this will display basically my image. Now in the alt text we can give some random, some not random but a proper text like 404 error image, okay, something like that. Just in case if the image does not load properly, this all text will load, and you can see now our image is loading properly. So now when I'm on logo or home page, I get redirected to home page, and when I put any random URL, I get redirected to a 404 page. Now what? So see, now it is always a better idea or a good idea that you always give some link, okay, from your error page itself, so that the user can go back to your home page of the website, okay. So for that, it is not mandatory, but what you can do is you can write something like this, okay, like paragraph back to home page, something like this. And how we will redirect basically is this will be basically a link, okay. So we have already seen the usage of link, right? So you can just link it and you can put your text inside this one, okay. Let me do that. Back to home page, and I'm putting the link over here, the text over here, and here in the text I'm going to write to, and it will redirect to home page. Saving this, let's see. Okay, I think I have not imported link, so it is not, that is why it is not working. Let's import link. Okay, so I'm importing link now, and let's see. So see, we got this text. When I click on it, it will redirect me to the home page, and when I hit any error URL, it will show me the error page. Now styling and all you can take care, like in my last video I have already showed you like how can we remove the this underline and all from the link. Basically we can just directly do that by writing the CSS for it. So now basically if you want that, there is also one important component called as navigate, okay, so which we get from React router. I'll show you that now itself. So for example, when we are in the app component, I'll import something called as navigate, okay, from React router itself. See guys, now what is the use of this navigate? Okay, I'll show you that. For that, I'll first comment this line, and here what I'm going to do, right, instead of error page, I don't want to show a separate error page, okay. Basically I want that whenever there is such a URL which is hit, which does not exist in my application, I basically want that it should redirect basically to my home page. For that, what I will do is I will basically write navigate, and here I am going to write to, and basically where I want it to navigate, okay. So let's see now, refreshing my application, and this is like home page, and let me try to put in some random URL which does not exist, and you will notice that it is redirecting me to the home page only. Let me take you to some another page, and then let me try to put in some another URL, okay. So now this is a faulty URL, I'm putting it, and it is redirecting me to the home page. So you can use that also. Basically there is a component navigate which you get it from React router, which is helpful to navigate you to a different URL. Now you might ask, why are we using navigate here? I can use link component also, right? Link is also basically doing the same thing, right? Let me try to do that. Let's see if this is breaking something or is it just the same thing. I'm on login, and now if I try to put in some random, see, it is not redirecting basically. Okay, let's see. Are we importing link? Yes, we are importing link. Okay, you know, right, how link works. For link, in order to work, there should be a text, and also there is one important thing, link might work in some cases, okay. You might achieve the same functionality that we are achieving here using link also, but you have to understand when you use navigate, it does not create a separate entry in your history, okay, browser history. Instead it replaces the existing entry with the previous entry itself. We will be talking more about this in one of the next videos or as an interview question, but for now understand that there is something called as navigate also which exists, which you can use if you don't want to show your this page which is error page. But the main motive of this video was to show or create a customized error page, so we have created one. So when I go to any of the URLs which does not exist, it is now showing me a error page. Hope you have understood this one. Let's now see what we have covered in this video. We have seen what is the 404 page. We have made a route for 404 page. We have created a customized 404 page for our application, and then we have also learned how to do the redirection from 404 page. When I say redirection for 404 page, what things we have covered? Basically we have covered like back to home page, and also I have also showed you like how to redirect or navigate to in cases if you don't want of error page. Now let's see the interview question for us. Okay, so the interview question for today is like, it is the same question that I have asked you in the last video, that is, what happens if a user navigates to a route that is not defined in React router, and how you can handle such cases. The answer for this was, in React router, if a user tries to access a route that is not defined, nothing will be rendered by default. The app won't crash, but the user may see a blank screen. That is what we have seen initially, and to handle this gracefully, we can define a catch-all route using path star at the end of routes block. This is what we have seen in this video, right? What we have done is we have used route, right, and then the path we have mentioned is slash star, and then we are showing the element on which we want it to render when such kind of random or unexisting page URL hits. Okay, so this will match any undefined paths and typically render a not found or 404 page component. So now I hope this paragraph is very much clear to you, because that is what the aim was. Hello guys and welcome back. Guys, in this video we are going to learn about nested routing. So first of all, let us understand what we are going to cover in this video. We are going to cover up what is nested navigation. Then we are going to see how can we create a tutorial page for nested navigation. Then we will be making nested routes, and then finally we will be seeing an important interview question. Guys, when it comes to React router, nested routing is an important concept. So make sure that you watch this video carefully, and just in case if you don't understand it in one go, please feel free to watch it twice. Now let's first of all understand what is nested routing, okay, or nested navigation. Okay, see, if I go to react.dat website, okay, this is my home page as of now, and if you will notice, when I click on learn, this is my first level routing. Okay, like this is one page, okay, which means learn page. Now when I click on reference, you can see there was already a page called reference. Inside that there is also another page which is react. Okay, so this is only which is called as nested routing. Okay, where what we have is where we have already one parent page. Inside the parent page we are creating one more child page. This is called as nested routing. Again, this community is one single page, so that is why it is like this. But I hope you have understood now. Now before we move forward directly to the code, let's understand what we are going to build today. See, until our previous video, what we have done was we have created a tutorial, okay, tutorial link in our header, and we have not created any component for it. So that is why it was redirecting us to the error page. Okay, but now what in this video we will be doing is, for tutorial we will be creating a component which will have a basic text tutorials, and then it will have three tutorials, okay, on three different topics. For that we will be having three links like React.js, JavaScript and Node.js. Now when I click on a particular link, just notice the URL. First of all, I'll take you to the home page and then I will show you from there. So now right now I am on home page, so that is why it is showing me localhost 5174. When I go to login, it will give me just /login. When I go to tutorial, it will give me /tutorial. Right now you cannot see any data of the tutorials. When I click on JavaScript, you can see one more URL is updated. Okay, the child JavaScript is added after that, and then the text also is showing, and this data that we are getting is from the child component, okay, which is JavaScript component itself. Similar way, when I update node, you can see nested routing is working very properly. Okay, so this is only what we are going to build it in this video. So let's now move on to our code editor, and as a first step I will start our server, okay, npm run dev, and then we will start from where we have left in the last video. So my local host is running. See, at this point when I click on tutorials, it will redirect me to an error page because we have not created our tutorials component yet. So as a first step, what I will be doing is I will be going to my code editor and I will create my tutorials component. Okay, so let's create a tutorial component, tutorial.jsx, and then I will write basic code into that, saving it, and then what I will do is in my app component I will set up the route for it. So I will go to app.jsx and here I will set up the route, okay, in this way. Path will be tutorial, and then element that I need to render on this path will be tutorial component. Saving this and seeing, see, you can see now tutorial component is getting rendered fine. Instead of error page, our tutorial component is getting rendered. Now let us basically set up the basic UI for our tutorial component. For that, what I will do is I will give a h1 which will say tutorials, okay, and then yeah, it is coming fine. What I will do is I will give a basic of styling to it because I want it to be center aligned. Okay, so I can give it something like class, not class name but style, text align center. Okay, let's see. Now you can see the text is coming in center. Now what we want below this, we want basically three different tutorials, okay, for three different topics. For that, what I will do is I will create an unordered list which will have 3 list items. Okay, so li into 3 I will do, and in these 3 list items we need links. Okay, so that is why I'm adding link component over here. Okay, and this much is done. Now before we move forward, let me import the link component. Importing is very important, otherwise your app will break. Okay, now what we want is it should say React.js. First one should say React.js, second one should say JavaScript. Okay, and the third one should say Node.js. Okay, let's save and see. See guys, so we are getting a list. Now let us do the basic styling, which is just important or needed, no extra styling. So what I will do is I will just give a class name as tutorial to this one, and I will be writing my CSS for this component in a file called as tutorial. Okay, so tutorial.css. I will write this. I will write my class which is tutorial, and then inside this I will be writing it. Basically, before I start writing, I just need to import this CSS file over here so that the changes will reflect. So tutorial, and right now we are not writing any CSS code, guys. We are just writing basically the we are not writing any React code. We are just writing the CSS code. So I have imported my file. I have copied this class name tutorial, and now I am going to style it. So what I want is, first of all, is that I don't want to style this tutorial component like tutorial parent directly. I want that inside this UL, this is what I need to style as of now. So for that I will write dot tutorial UL. Okay, and then I want the display to be flex first of all, because all of these are coming in different lines. Okay, I want them to be side by side. As soon as I do this, you see it is coming side by side. Now there is one more property which is justify item or justify content center. Let's see if this is working or not. Yes, it is working fine. Okay, now what we want is, first of all, I want to remove those underlines. So in order to remove those underlines, what I will do is I will go to this links. I will add a class name to all the links. Okay, like which will be link. Using this, I will be removing all the underlines. Okay, so class name link. Okay, and here space is there. I will go here and I will just write dot link, and then text decoration none. Let's see if this is working. Yes, it is working fine. There is also, I don't want to see those bullet points. So for that, what I will be doing is let's style type to be none. Saving this, you can see those are gone. Now what we want is okay, we want some spacing to be there in between them, right? So for that, what I can do is I can take this li, individual li's. Okay, because right now we have this common parent which is UL. So for every individual li, what I want is there should be a margin basically. Maybe 10 pixels is more than enough, and let me also increase the font size also so that it is visible clearly. So I will write 20 pixels. So right now it is looking pretty decent, and we are good to move forward now. Okay, so I'm not writing more CSS now. It is more than enough. So I am now closing my CSS file, and let us now give the paths. Okay, basically when I click on React.js, what I want is my URL should be updated to /react. Okay, when I click on JavaScript link, okay, my URL should be updated to JavaScript, and in the same way when I click on Node, this one should be updated on Node. Now one important thing, guys, just notice that when we write nested roots, we do not need to write this slashes. Okay, because sometimes it gives error or blank screen. So that is why I'm telling you now itself, no need to write those slashes. Those slashes were needed on the first level, but for child it is not needed, so I'm not writing. Let's see if our URL is getting updated as of now or not. So when I click on React, just notice the URL, it should update to /react. Okay, yes, it is updating. Don't worry about the error page because we have not created the component, so it should by default show the error only. For JavaScript also the URL is updated, and even for Node.js also the URL is updated. So far we are going good. Now to get rid of this error page, first of all, let's have 3 different components for these 3 tutorial files. Okay, like React.js, JavaScript and Node.js. What I will do is I will go to this, I will create one new file which will be React.Qt. Okay, React.Qt.jsx. Okay, and I will write basic code. Okay, RFC. And now I will create one for JavaScript. So I will name it as JS2.jsx, and again RAFC saving it. One more should be what? Node tut, right? Because the third tutorial that we are creating is node. So node tut.jsx, okay, rafc, saving this file. Now we have created three like files, okay, but it won't show directly, right? We need to set up the roots. So now at this point comes the major part of this video, which is how to set up your nested roots. See, first level of root we have already set up. We have already taken care of links, okay. When I click on the link, the URL should be updated. But how will our code get to know that when this URL is updated, which component it needs to render? So let's understand that. So first of all, my parent component, which is tutorials, instead of self closing it, I will close it in this way, okay. Now inside this, okay, I want my children's to be there, right? So I will now write the roots for the children components. Okay, now for children I don't need again one more because they are individual in itself. So I will just write path, okay, and path, what I want is, first of all, if my path is React, okay, now again this is not needed because already it is like slash tutorial, and after that React will come. Now if my path is this, then what I want is my element to be, my element that I want is React tut, okay. We have already created this component, okay, and in the same way I will just copy this twice, okay, duplicate this line twice, and we will write for the remaining two also, which is, first one was JavaScript, okay, and make sure that the names of the paths that you are giving over here is matching with the ones that you have given in your tutorial file, okay, I mean this part. So React, JavaScript and Node, this should match, otherwise it will break, okay. Now here what we need to give is JS tut, okay, JS tut was our component, and make sure that all the components are getting imported also side by side when you are like, you know, writing them. So just see here that our, like, you know, components are getting imported also. I think my node component is not here, so let me import it manually. So node tut, and it should not be node, it should be node tut, okay, saving this file. Let's see so far, and right now also it will break, okay. Let me tell you why. Not break as in, but it won't show the expected result. See, when I click on React.js, it is not showing me any text which is there in my React component, right? So in order to display that, what we need to do, we need to go to our parent component where we have defined the links and all. So here I need to write my outlet, okay. Now outlet, what does it do is, it will show your child components. Let's see, now it is showing properly. When I click on JavaScript, it is showing me JavaScript tutorials data, Node.js, Node tutorial. Basically, outlet is telling that when you click on a particular link, the URL will be updated, and based on the URL, which outlet or which child component you need to show. Now to have a basic, you know, perfect UI or look wise good, what I will do is, instead of writing basic text, I will write this is the basic tutorial for React.js, okay. And I will just copy this line and saving this file. I will go to JavaScript file. I don't want this one, I want this, and instead of React I will just say JS, and in the same way, instead of node I will go here and I will write Node.js, okay. So just for readability it is good. See, now when I click on React, my URL is updating, my content is updating based on the outlet, JavaScript URL, nested URL is updated, and the content is also updated, Node.js it is updated, and the URL is updated, and the text is also updated. Guys, this is very important, okay. You might feel that this might be easy, or when you look at it you might feel that this is very easy, okay, but trust me, when you work on an actual project, okay, in any of the companies, setting up routing becomes a bit tedious if you have not practiced it enough, okay. So that is why I told you in the starting of the video itself that if you are finding it a bit hard to understand, please feel free to watch it twice or thrice and even practice it, okay. Now let's go to our topics, that if we have covered everything that we discussed or not. So first of all, we have seen what is nested navigation. Nested navigation or nested routing is nothing. Basically, if you have a parent page and inside that you have a child page, then in the URL you show both the, like, you know, pages names. So that is what is called as nested navigation or nested routing. Now in the next step, what we did was we created a tutorial page for nested navigation, and we made the nested routes for the child components also. Now after that, now is the time that we should discuss an important interview question. Now guys, the important interview question for today is, what is the difference between link and nav link? Okay, see guys, we have used link over here as of now, okay. In our tutorial app, if we go, we have used link, okay. If want, I can even use something called as nav link, okay, like this, okay. Nav link, there is something called as nav link that we have. We just need to import nav link the same way like we are importing this one, okay, and it will work just fine. Let me showcase you quickly. the site will not at all break or the app will not at all break. Okay, everything will work fine. So there is a major difference which people are not actually aware of, and this makes it a major interview question, that what is the difference. Okay, we were using link, we are using navlink now. So if both are providing the same functionality, then why having two things for one same feature, right? So let's see the answer for this. First of all, I don't expect you to understand this answer as of now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create 1 second video for just this interview question itself, where I will be actually showing you the difference in code, so that it will be easy for you to understand that, you know, what is the major difference. But let's for now read the answer. In React Router, link is a component which is used for general navigation, while navlink is a specialized version of link that provide additional features for styling the active link in navigation menus or bars. Essentially, navlink automatically applies a CSS class or styles to the active link based on current route, making it visually distinct from other links. Okay guys, basically I have told you the answer as of now, but I don't want to dig deep into the answer in this video itself. I will be posting it in a separate video where I will be explaining you in detail by showing you with practical example that what is the major difference between link and navlink. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to understand what is navlink and what is the difference between navlink and link. So first of all, let us see what are the topics that we are going to cover it in this video. First of all, we will be seeing what is navlink, then we will be seeing the difference between navlink and link, and finally we will be applying active classes. Okay, and then we will see one important interview question. So guys, let's start today's video by looking at the interview question that we have seen in the last video. In the last video we have seen the interview question that was what is the difference between link and navlink, and I also showcased you that if I replace the link with navlink, it was behaving exactly same, there was no difference. Then what is the difference between them, and why are we having two things for the same, right, to achieve the same result? So guys, it is not like so. Both have their own things. Okay, and you can say navlink is kind of beneficial in some cases. Let's understand. Basically, in React Router, link is a component which is used for general navigation. We have also used links for different things. Even if you see on our header, these about login tutorials, all these are links. Okay, if I'll take you to our navbar, in my navbar.jsx, all these are links as of now, right? So links are basically used for general navigation, while navlink is a specialized version of link that provide additional features for styling the active link in navigation menus. Okay, so for example, if I'll take you to this website, okay, like react.dev, basically what does this provides us? Let's see that. Okay, what does navlink provides us? We are trying to see that. Okay, now I am on the home page as of now, and if you see, if I go on reference, can you observe that this is differently highlighted, so which makes it very clear that currently I am on reference page. When I am clicking on learn, it is highlighting it in a clear way. So when we use navlink, it is giving us this kind of active class which tells us that you are particularly on this page. Okay, so it highlights it. So that is what we can achieve using navlink. Okay, let's try to do this in code now. So basically, let's read the answer once again. In React Router, link is a component used for general navigation, while navlink is a specialized version of link that provides additional features for styling the active link in navigation menus. And whenever you are using any kind of navigation menus or navigation or header, then make sure that you use this one navlink, because then it will look wise, it will be very good. Okay, and essentially we will come to this line later once we have implemented the code, so that you will understand it better. Okay, now what we will do is, first of all, instead of changing these headers as of now, we will apply navlinks on these ones. Okay, to these links. Okay, because these links are also links as of now. So where we will find these links? This we will find in tutorials component. So let me go to our tutorial component and see here in tutorial component. In our last video only, I have updated all of these with navlink, right? But you might say that why it is not working now when I am on particular page, like when I am on JavaScript, why JavaScript is not highlighted, right? This should have been highlighted. So guys, let me tell you how does this work. Okay, so let me take you to the inspect tool and see. Can you see this active class? How this active class is coming? Because currently I am on JavaScript, right? I have clicked on this navlink, so that is why it is adding the class active here. Okay, notice that on React.js there is no active class as of now. Now you will notice that when as soon as I click on React.js, this active will be removed from here and it will be added to React.js. Okay, see, it is updated, right? So active is now added to React.js, whereas from JavaScript it was removed, and even in the Node.js one also it won't be there. Okay, so at a particular point of time only one can be active, right? So that is how it will work. When I click on Node.js, then you notice that here it will come, and from here React.js it will be removed. See, when I clicked on it, this active class came here, which means the class is getting added, but it is our duty to add CSS to that class. Okay, so how we will do that? Let's go to our code now. See, we are already having a file called as tutorial.jsx, and active class is getting added on the DOM itself, right? So what I can do is, we have a file which we created, tutorial.css. In this file I can write something like this, okay, active, because as far as I know, as of now, this is getting added, right? So what I can do is, I can write something like font weight, and then I can give some font weight to it, okay, like 500. Saving it. Let's see when I click on JavaScript, it is working or not. Okay, tutorial.css, or maybe we can have like font weight bold also. See, can you notice that it is now getting bold? When I click on Node.js, it is getting bold here. To make it more visible, I can even do something like change the color of any active one to maybe like red. Okay, so that it is very clearly visible to you on this screen. See, currently we are our React.js nav link is active, so it is red in color and it is bold. When I click on Node.js, this is active and bold. When I click on JavaScript, this is active and bold. So this is the advantage of using nav link. Okay, and I hope now it is very clear for you what is the difference between link and nav link. Let's get back to our question and let's understand this statement. What it was saying, essentially nav link automatically applies a CSS class called active to the active link based on the current route, making it visually distinct from the other links. Now I hope you can understand this sentence very easily, because I even showed you from inspect tool that when you will click on a particular link, and if it is active, it will add a CSS class called as active, and you can use that CSS class to give your CSS or basic style, okay, customized style. Now there can be one situation, okay, which you can come across. For example, let me comment this out. Okay, let us suppose that there is already an active class that is getting used somewhere in your code, okay, and there is already, like, some CSS written to it. Now if you will try to write one more, the classes will overlap and some of the properties from that CSS will try to come in. Now what if you have to write your own custom active class? Okay, you don't want to use the exact active word only, but you want to use custom active or any other word for active. Okay, but since we have seen navlink is giving us the word active, what we can do in this case? Okay, so let me show you. See, this link class, we need it, okay, always, because with this link we are just removing the underline, okay, of the text, as you have already seen in the previous video. But here now I will show you how you can do that. Okay, basically you don't want to use that exact active word, okay, you want to use some other word, maybe custom active. So see, what you can do is, you can write your class in this way. Basically when you will write it in this way, you will get a is active, you can say parameter, okay, is active parameter. Now based on this you can do conditional rendering. Now is active will be what? It is just a value which is boolean. Okay, is active will be true when your link is activated at a particular point of time, and it is false when it is not. Okay, so as I told you, link was, we always need link. Okay, in any case we need link. Okay, and I told you there is one another class which you want to create, which is will be custom active, or you can name anything of your choice. Okay, it is totally fine. And this custom active, when it will be applicable, it will only be active, it will only be applicable if our link is active or I have clicked on that particular navigation link. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now this code, this class name, we will add instead of normal class name to all our, like, navigation links. And when we do this, our code will work properly. It's just that we have to now write our CSS in, we can now write our CSS in this custom active. Okay, so I will just copy this custom active, I will go to my tutorials, and instead of that thing, I can write it like this way, and I can basically write my both the things here. And to make it, like, to make you feel like it is different, I'll give it a different, like, maybe name green. Let's go to our code. See, can you notice it is working properly, right? Guys, this was very important. Don't think that, why are we taking this stress of, like, understanding this extra thing that, if we have a is active parameter and then we are doing conditional rendering based on that. I am teaching you this one because this is a very important interview question. You can say that, out of, if you are getting questions on React router, there is very much high chances, or you can say around 70 to 80% chances are there that you will get this question, that what is the difference between link and nav link. And if you even explain that, they can even ask you this thing, that if you have to write your own custom active class, how can you do that? So you have to tell them this thing, that is active is also there. Based on that, we can do conditional rendering. So I hope now it is very clear for you. And you can, I hope now you, if it is asked to you to implement this nav link property or nav link component on these links, you can easily able to do. So I don't want the video to be very long, so I'm not doing it right away here. But after this, what I will be doing is I will be updating the code of this also from link to navlink, and I will be pushing the code to GitHub. You will be getting the link of this code in the description box of this video, so you can access this code of this updated code from the description box. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to see two important concepts, that is layout and index roots. Okay, so before we move on to index roots, first of all let us understand what is layout root. Okay, so what is a layout root? A layout root is a shared UI wrapper like a header or sidebar that stays consistent across nested roots. Example of it is a header that shows a common navigation menu for the entire website. Now if this is not clear for you, let me make it clear. So guys, let's understand what is the work of a layout, or what is the need of a layout actually. So guys, let us understand that if there is any such component on your web app where you need to always show that component, okay, the best example of that is your navigation bar or your header, right? Because you, on every different components you might have on your website, right? Like we have a component of home page, we have a component about page, login page, right? Tutorials, but we are always showing this header, right? So if you have any such requirement where a layout is shared UI wrapper, okay, where if you have such requirement that you need to share one component with the other components, then that component is called as a layout. Okay, so a layout is nothing but it is a shared UI wrapper like a header that stays consistent across nested roots. Okay, so now I hope it is clear for you what a layout is. Layout is nothing but your header itself, you can call it as layout. But the way we are adding layout is we are adding navbar in our code is not correct. Okay, like what we are doing is we have just added navbar at the top of our code so that before rendering any other things it will always render navbar. Okay, so no, usually we won't render our navbar in this way. What we will do is we will create a separate root for navbar also. Okay, like how we will do that, let me show you. See, so inside my roots I will create the first root for navbar itself. Okay, so I will create a root, okay, in this way, and all my children component will be going inside this root, okay, which will be of my navbar. That is why we are calling it as a UI wrapper, right? When I showed you the statement, it was mentioned as UI wrapper, and here we will be giving the element as the navbar component that we have having. Okay, so I will be just copy pasting it over here and saving it, and then here we don't have to give any path, okay, because this is just a wrapper. Okay, so because here we want that by default initially this should render, and then after that all the other ones should render. So let me like show you how it will work. See, I have saved this, and now let us consider a use case that I don't want my header to be displayed on my tutorials page. I want it to be displayed on everything else like my home page, about page, login page, but not on the tutorials page. That is why I am keeping this out here, okay, as of now, to showcase you one additional extra case. Okay, but later on we will again put this also into our this parent wrapper only. See, but guys, now you might have noticed that I have added this, but why my children components are not showing? Okay, so this is also one important concept. Okay, and this is only the interview question for us today, that why it is not showing. Because whenever you have this type of scenario where you have a parent root and then nested roots inside that, then you always have to add the outlet. Okay, you might have remembered that in our previous nesting route video also we have added an outlet. Now where exactly our outlet is added? See guys, first of all, where our what is we are rendering on the screen is navbar. Okay, and after navbar we want the remaining components code to be rendered, right? So where our navbar is ending, at that place we have to add the outlet. So let's go to our navbar component and see our navbar code is this much. Okay, and when this component ends, then we have to render the outlet. So what we will do is, this is the entire code for our navbar, so I will just cut it off. I will create a separate div, and first of all I will be rendering my navbar code and then my outlet. Okay, so how my outlet will look like, it will look something like this. Okay, see, I am now saving it, and let's go to our code. See, now it is working absolutely fine. Okay, so I hope this was an important learning for you, because don't forget to add outlet. Okay, so till now what we have implemented was layout. Okay, and now if I will go to tutorials, you might notice that my navbar is not showing. Why it is not showing? Because I have intentionally kept my tutorials out. Okay, because in some pages we might have actually this type of scenario that you don't have to keep, like you don't have to show header on that page. Okay, so in that case you can do this kind of scenario, that you can keep your particular root outside of the layout. Okay, so I will also add a comment over there that this is layout. And now what I will do is, for now, just to explain you, I have not added this inside that, but now I will move this also inside my this root configuration only. Okay, so I will just paste it and save it. Okay, so far it is good. Let me also format my document so that it will be properly, you can even read it properly. See what is happening over here is we have a navbar, okay, which is like a wrapper for us, which means navbar will show for every component what do you render. Okay, now there are this path based checks. Okay, so if you are having a path as slash about, then about component, slash login, then login, nothing, then error page. Okay, then anything from starts from tutorial, then first of all tutorial component, and inside that we have different nested paths also. So let's go to our tutorials and let's understand now what is index. Okay, so before we understand index, let us read this statement. What is the index root? An index root is the default child root rendered when a parent path is matched exactly. This, think of it as a home page of nested root. So now again it might not be very much meaningful for you. Let me make it clear. See guys, let us take this scenario that I am on a tutorials page, okay, and my tutorial component is getting rendered as of now. Okay, and in that tutorial component I have 3 links, and these are 3 different roots like React.js, JavaScript and Node.js. Now I want that instead of showcasing it a complete blank, at least render some basic, or by default one component should be rendered. Okay, which means I want that by default my React.js component should be rendered. So in that case what we will do is we will go to the roots, okay, and this is my tutorial, and inside that we have these 3, right? So what I will do is I will put index over here. So as soon as I put the index value over here, by default this React component will be rendered. Okay, so this is what index is, but notice that you cannot put index and path equals to React at the same time, because it is illogical, right? You are saying that by default render my this component, and you are also giving a path. So that is why you cannot put path and this thing at the same time. So I'm just removing this and saving this to show you that now what will happen. Okay, so I will go to about, I will go to tutorials, and you see by default now my this is basic tutorial for React.js, which means my React Qt component is getting rendered. When I click on JavaScript, this will work. Node.js, this will work. But notice one thing, now when I click on React.js, it will break. Why so? Because I have removed that line, right? For the path React, I have removed that logic, right? I am just saying that by default show this component in my case, but what about the case if someone clicks on it? So for that what we will be doing is we will duplicate this line, we will remove this index, and we will just write that line also. Okay, so just in case if someone manually clicks on that, then in that case it will show. Okay, so see, now when I clicked on it, it is showing. When I click on this, this will show. This is also working properly. When I am going on another page, okay, and when I am coming on tutorials, by default it is showing this one. Okay, so this was index. Okay, again let's read it out. An index root is the default child root rendered when the parent path is matched exactly. That is what is happening, right? The parent path is getting matched exactly. The parent path in our case was tutorial, it is getting matched. So the default root that we are showing is React. Okay, so that is why. And it can also be said that it can be considered as the home page of a nested root, right? So in home page what we were doing, we had multiple components, right? But we have given that if by default show this as the home page, right? So if nothing, then initially this will load. So this is also kind of home page only, right? But for nested components. Okay, so I hope now it is clear. Let's move forward and let's see the interview question for this video. What is the purpose of outlet component in React router? So I have already explained you what is the purpose of outlet. Let's look at the answer so that it will be easier for you guys to answer in the interview. The answer for this can be the outlet component acts like a placeholder for rendering child roots inside a parent root. Okay, so if we have this kind of setting where we have a parent wrapper and then the nested child roots inside that, then in order to render the outlet, in order to render the child components, we need to use outlet. Okay, so here is an example. Imagine you have a common layout like header, and you want different pages like your profile, settings, about us, dashboard, whatever, to show up inside that layout. That's where outlet comes in, and it tells basically the React router that whenever a nested root is matched, render its component right here. Okay, and I have already actually showed you the code also. Let me show you again. See, here we had the wrapper component as navbar, and inside that we have these as the child components. So what we are doing is, once our navbar code is implemented, after that to render the child components we are using outlet. Same goes here also in this in this setting where we had tutorial as the wrapper and then nested roots inside that. So what we are doing is, once our tutorial is rendered, then we are putting an outlet in that also. So if I'll take you to the tutorial, see here also. So in order to render your nested roots, okay, or child roots, you need to put outlet. Okay, so then only your child components will render. Hello everyone, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to see the topic that is dynamic routing with React router. Guys, this is a very important concept, and I can say this is the most asked or one of the most important interview questions also when it comes to React router. Okay, so first of all, let us see what are the topics that we are going to discuss about in today's video. First of all, we will be understanding what is a dynamic route, then we will be making a product list page, and then we will be making a product details page, and then we will be setting up the dynamic routing for our product list page. Okay, and finally we are going to see an interview question. So guys, in order to explain you what is actually a dynamic route, let me give you one example, okay, and a use case also. See guys, dynamic route is nothing but a route which will display in this way. Okay, like we have products, okay, and then for products also we have multiple products. So I want to see product number 5. So when I do something like this, then it will show me product number 5. Okay, this is called as dynamic route. Now why are we saying this as dynamic route? Let us suppose this use case that what we are going to build today is a products page. Okay, this product page has multiple products listing as of now. Okay, currently it is very less. Okay, for our understanding purpose, I'm just creating 5, but in a fully fledged application it can be like thousands of products that can be there on a single page, or thousands or hundreds, whatever you can say. So there, like hard coding every single path in the URL is not at all possible. Like there is another way also. What you can do is for these 5, you can set up 5 different routes, okay, manually in your app.js, and then also it will work. But see, if you have like thousands of products listing, then it is not feasible, right, to write 1,000 routes for that. So in this case, dynamic routing comes into picture. Okay, there what we have is we have relative routes. Okay, now what is relative route? For example, we have this product list page. When I click on this products button, this product list page gets rendered, and we can see a list of products here. Now when I click on this particular product, what I want is my another page should re-render. Okay, should render, and in that page what should happen is the details about this particular product should be there. Okay, and not anything else should be there. For example, when I click on burger, a new product details page is opened. This is a total different component, and in this one I can even see the details of my product. Okay, like for example the ID. And how am I getting this ID? I am getting this ID from the URL. Okay, and when I click on back, I'm again back to this page. So guys, this is very easy. Okay, when we will implement, you will understand it better. So let's now move on to our code editor and let's start. So first of all, let me start my server. Okay, so npm run dev, this will open it on localhost. Okay, now I will show you first of all. So we are here. Okay, till last video we have created this much. Okay, that we have created tutorials page, but as I explained you in this video, we are going to create a products page. So as a first step, let's create a products link in the navbar. Okay, so here is our navbar, and till tutorials we have created. So let me create one more entry in the navbar, okay, which will say to products. So products, and where the link should like the URL should update to, URL should say products when I click on it. Okay, products. Okay, rest everything is same. Let's see if it is working fine. See, it is working fine, but everything is sticking together. Why so? Because it is a CSS issue. We have given the width as 200, okay, to the UL. Instead of it, if I'll increase the width, everyone will get its own space and everything will be fine. See, now we are on tutorials page. When I click on products page, if you see, it will give an error page as of now because we have not defined the route yet. But notice that our URL is getting updated properly. Now let's set up the route for this page. Okay, so how we will set up the route? In order to set up the route, we have to set up the route in this app component. But before that, we will be needing a component for products page, right? So what I will do is I will create a new component which will say products.jsx. Okay, quickly we will create some simple component here, saving it and going to app.js, and let's set up the route for it. Okay, so this is like this we are setting under our layout, which is navbar. So route, and this is a self closing one. Okay, and here what we are going to give the element as the new product page which we have created just now. Okay, and in path section what I need to give the URL. Okay, then if it matches this URL, then show this element. Okay, so products, saving this file. Let's see if it is working. See, it is already working. I'm on tutorial. When I click on products, it is showing me this products component. Now let us set up the UI for the products page first of all, and then we will be moving forward slowly. So I'm on the products page right now, and what I want is, I don't want this basic text. I want a h1 which will say products list page. Okay, saving this, and I also want everything to be in the center, so I'm just going to start like add inline styling, and I'm going to say text align and then center. Okay, let's see if this much is working fine or not. See, we got a proper product list page heading, and then now our duty is to show like 5 to 6 products, right, as I showcased you in the demo. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own data. Okay, how that data is going to look like, I'm going to create an array basically. So the name of the array is going to be products, and then this is an array. What this array will contain, okay, this array will contain objects in itself basically, and what the object will have two data basically. One is the ID of the product, and the other is name of the product. Okay, so for example, we are showing the products as food items, so my first food item is pizza. Okay, in the same way I will create like 5 entries for the products. Okay, so the second one maybe is like fries. Okay, and then something like burger, you can give any names, and then like Coke. Okay, and then like momos, anything. Okay, now we are going to give separate IDs for everything. Okay, because IDs are very much important, as I told you. IDs needs to be unique basically. Okay, now we have created this products array. Now we are going to show this on our product list page. Okay, so how are we going to do? We are just going to simply map over it. So products dot map, and then inside the map, one by one we will be getting the product. So I will write it here as product. Okay, this will give us one by one product, and then I will be creating one wrapper div. Okay, inside this I will be showing my products data. Now before that, I want to add a key over here. Key should be unique, so our unique value of ID will be helpful over here. This much is good. Now I want to show my product name, right? So what I will do is I will write like h3, and inside that I will write a link. Why I'm writing a link? Because I want the product name to be clickable, right? I showed you in the demo that when I click on that product link, it should redirect me to another page, which is product details page, right? So we also have to write that functionality later on. So that is why I'm creating it as a link as of now only. So what I'm going to write in this one is product dot name. Okay, let's see so far it is working or not. Okay, I have not imported the link, so that is why it is showing me a blank screen. So always remember to import the things which you are using. See, now we are getting this product list, and these are links as of now. Okay, but when I click on it, it will break as of now because I have not given two in the link. Okay, so let's fix few things. First of all, let me give a basic inline style to the link. Okay, I don't want this underlines to be there, so I'm just removing text decoration to I'm making text decoration as none. So what will happen is these lines will be going off. Okay, now I will give a 2. Okay, now what I want that when I click on a particular this product item, what should happen? Okay, I want now from here the dynamic routing concept starts. Okay, what I want is when I click on fries, my URL should be updated to something like /products/ the ID of fries. Okay, or if I click on pizza, the ID of pizza, something like that should happen. So how I will write my 2? Okay, so in that case I will write something like /products should be there in the URL, and then one more slash should be there, and after that I want my product ID to be there. So product dot ID. Okay, let's save it and see if it is working fine. So when I click on it, just notice the URL. Okay, the page will break because we have not defined the root yet, but we have given the link 2 in the link. So the URL should update properly. So when I click on pizza, you can see it is giving me the ID of the pizza, which is 1. Again, when I go to products page and click on fries, it should give me the ID 2. So far it is working good. Okay, now what is the next step that we want? I want to create a separate page which will render when I click on a particular entry. Okay, and that page should display the details of my particular product. Okay, like the pizza related things, it should show those details. Okay, that what all the things that pizza will contain, maybe like the price of the pizza and quantity or something like that should display. Okay, so we want the individual page for that purpose. Now for that, again I need to create one component. Okay, so the component will be something like product details. Okay, product details dot JSX, and then we will first of all write the basic code in this one, and then now we will set up the root for it. Okay, now how we will set up the root for it, that is also important. See, I will set up the root and this will close by itself. Okay, and the element that we want to render is which one? The new one that we have created just now, the component product detail. Okay, and now how the path will look like in this case. Okay, so see guys, we have set up the path from there, right? So the path matching, how it will happen here, how we have to write it here is we want that first of all products will be there, okay, and after that there is no fixed it is not fixed that always the id will be either 1 or either 2, right? So we cannot hard code it, right? So in this case what we will do is we will do it something like this, okay. This is called as relative path, okay. So we are just writing that id will be there, okay, and some id will come, okay, in that place. Now let's go to our product page, okay. Let's first of all see if it is working fine or not, our component is getting rendered or not. So when I click on burger, see my product details page is getting rendered. So far it is going good, but now our next duty is what? That from this URL, this ID for a particular product, I want to showcase it on my page. How can we do that? That is also very simple. Okay, so let me go to my product details page only. First of all, let me make it proper. So I'm just removing it, giving it a H1, and I'm saying it as products details product details page, okay. So we have created this H1, and again I will give a make it center, so inline style, text align center, saving it, seeing it, it is looking proper, okay. So we are on the product details page and it is in the center. Now basically I want one more line to be there. What it should say is the product ID is, okay, product ID is, and the ID should be dynamically, we have to get it from the URL, right? Here the product ID should be mentioned. Now how we will get that? Okay, see, as of now this text is displaying. Now how we will get that ID? So it is all very simple. Basically from React router we have a hook called as use params that we get. So what I will do is I will create a const variable which should, like, you can name it anything according to you. So I'm just naming it as like param ID, and then we will get a hook, as I told you, right? Use params, okay. This hook will help us in getting that URL data, okay. Now before we directly use this ID, I want to console log it and showcase to you that what we are getting in our param ID variable, okay. So I'm saving it and I'm going to take you to inspect tool console, and you can see we are getting an object when we are console logging this param ID, okay. Let's see what we are getting in this one. See, we are getting the ID, that is this dynamic thing that we are adding at the end. We are getting this when we are making use of use params, right? So now our work is very easy. Basically we are getting an object, and in that object our ID is there. So what I will do is I will use this param ID const that I have, okay, and I will write dot ID. This should give me the ID of a particular product, okay. And I think now it is working fine. Let's go to home first of all, and let's go to our products page. When I click on products page, my products listing are showing, okay, which was our step 1. And then what I did was, when I click on a particular product, my URL should be updated with the dynamic ID of that particular product, okay. So as soon as I click on it, my URL is updating, as well as my next component is rendering, which is my product details page. And on my product details page, what I am doing is I am getting the ID from my URL and displaying it on my page, okay, using use params. Guys, this is very important because this is only what is dynamic routing. When you have thousands of data coming in from API, you need to showcase it something like this, because you cannot write see this in this current scenario. Since our products are only 5, I could have even hard coded everything, and I could have even set up 5 routes, okay, in my app.jsx. What I could have done is, instead of this, I could have done something like this also, okay. Let me show you. See, for small 5 entries, it would have been totally fine, okay. It would have been totally fine in case of a small project or just 5 entries, but this is not feasible, okay, and you cannot write these kinds of routes, okay. So that is why dynamic routing is very important when you have multiple entries, okay. I hope you have understood this one. Let's now get back to our slide and let's see what we have covered so far. So guys, first of all, we have seen what is a dynamic route. I have explained you that with an example. We have created our product list page, okay, and then we have also created our second page, which was the product details page. So when I click on any entry from the product list page, it is taking me to a product details page where we are setting up our dynamic routing and we are showcasing the ID of a particular product on the product details page. So this much we have done so far, okay. Now is the time for to discuss one important interview question for today. So the interview question for today is, what are route prefixes and how do they work in React router, okay. Now before we directly read this answer, I want to explain you practically, okay, and then we will come back to this answer so that you will understand it better, okay. So what are route prefixes first of all? So guys, let us understand that what is the word prefix means, okay. Prefix means adding something at the starting of a word, okay. For example, I have this name as page, okay. I want to add something in the front of it, so that will be like called as prefix, okay. Like I want to add the word ABC, So ABC will be a prefix, okay, to this. So the final word will be ABC page, okay. So that is what a word, the meaning of the word prefix is, right? Now what is root prefix? Now the root prefix is nothing but your root is like currently slash about, okay. Now consider a situation that you have a website where you are showing this about details for a particular user, okay, and you have like 10 users. So you want to have your URL something like user slash about, okay. So for like, you know, for a particular user that their own about details are showing. Basically what you are doing here is you are adding a prefix to your root, okay. Your root was about and you want to add a prefix in this case. So how you handle these types of scenarios, okay. So let me show you. So let's go to our app component, okay, and here where we have about and login, and I want to do this same for both of these, okay. That when I click on about page, my URL should be like slash user slash about, and when I click on login, my URL should be slash user slash login. How do we do that? Okay, so first of all, let me cut this, okay, and what I will do is I will create a root, okay, and then inside that I will put it, okay, and the path of this will be slash user, which means first of all I have to go to user and then to another pages, okay, which is my about and login. Now one more thing is it won't directly happen because in navbar we also have to set up our link path also, okay. So let me go to my navbar, and for about and login it should be like user slash about and user slash login, okay. So what happens is when I click on about, my URL will be updated with user slash about, and then how the root will be set up in my app component. First of all it will check for user, yes, and then it will like, you know, redirect me to the about or login, whichever I have clicked. Let's see if it is working or not. See, when I click on login, my user slash login is working. When I click on about, my user slash about is working, and it is also rendering my pages fine. Because this was a very simple concept, okay, but this just that it is a very commonly used jargon. So you know, when you goes to interview and you just hear the word root prefix for the first time, you might think that, okay, what is this new concept? I have never read of it. So that is why instead of creating a separate video on this, I thought let me cover this in a as an interview question, okay. So I hope now you have understood what is root prefixes. Now let us read the answer so that it will be super clear for you. So root prefixes are a way to group related roots under a common parent path in React Router. This is achieved using nested roots, right? So that is what we are doing here in our code. We are grouping different paths into a single parent, okay, which was user here in this case. Instead of repeating the full path like slash user slash about and slash user slash login individually, we can define a parent root and nest its child roots inside it, okay. The other way of doing the same thing could be what I could have done this way also, okay. Let me show you. Like for example, if I would have not written these lines, I could have written something like this, okay, slash user slash about, okay, and the same way I could have done for login also, slash user slash login. In this case also it would have worked totally fine, and if I will comment this, okay, this would have worked totally fine, but you know, this is fine for just 2 entries, but it is not meaningful. It like, you know, this way it is much meaningful, and if we have multiple entries, it is you know, better to do that way, okay. So I hope you have now understood what is dynamic routing, what is root prefixes. Hi guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video we are going to see what is optional segment, then we are going to see how can we use optional segment with our static segments and dynamic segments. So let's see first of all what is a optional segment. So guys, understand it is a important feature that will let a single root handle multiple URL patterns. Now when I say what is multiple URL patterns, what does that exactly mean? So see guys, this is one URL pattern that we have. Now if I want that after this something called as list should be there, okay, and if it exists then also it should work. If not, then till products it should work, okay. So with like this is actually useful when you want to make the part of your URL optional, okay, because basically what happens is when you get the data from your API, there is some data which might be optional, okay, in some cases. So if that data is not there, your page will break. So what you do is, if you are already aware of such data, what you will do is you will make use of optional segment. Now let's see this in practical, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to my code editor, and I'm going to create first of all a new link in my navbar, okay, and what the link will be saying list, okay. So let's go to our navbar, and here in the navbar the last item that we had was products. So I will copy this line and I will enter it and then say link list, okay. So we will have a new entry in our navbar. See, list is there. Now what I want is where it should redirect. So when I click on it, slash products slash link, okay, list basically. something like this should be the URL which should get updated. Now since I have defined a new URL path, I also need to define the root for it. Where will I define the root? In my app component. So in my app component, what I will do is I will go here and below the products one which I have already defined, I will just define a new root. Okay, see, in this way. So I will do slash and list. Now when we will save, let's see if it is working or not. So when I am on products, it is showing me the products page. When I am on list, it is giving me products slash list, which is working fine. But till now here we are not using optional segment. What if I have to write these two things in the one single line? In that case, I can use optional segment. I'll show you how. So I will comment this line and I will write slash list here itself and then question mark. This means that this list is this list URL slash list URL is the optional segment, which means if it is there also it will work. If not, then the page will load products. Okay, see, now when I will save it, let's see. First of all, I am on tutorials page, then I will go to products page. Products page is also working fine, and when I click on list, then also it is working fine. So this is only what is optional segment, and here we are using this optional segment with our static segment. Okay, why static segment? See, this type of paths are called as static segments. Okay, whereas these types of path where we have a dynamic ID or something which is dynamic, then we call it as a dynamic segment. So I hope you are now also aware of what is a static segment and what is a dynamic segment. So we have already seen an example of using optional segment with static segment. Now let's see one more example of this one, optional segment with dynamic segment. So for that, what I'm going to do basically is we have dynamic segments here, right? When we click on a entry, it redirects me to a page. Okay, and then the ID shows. Okay, first of all, let's go to this page where we have the products detail, and here in this products page, what I will do, what I was getting is product ID. I also want that in the URL itself, I will add one more thing, which is my product name. Okay, so how I will write product name. Okay, so now going forward, when I will click on a particular entry, I will also get the product name also there. Okay, let's see. So if I'll go to products, pizza, C, I'm getting the name of the product also, but for now it will break. Why so? Because in my roots I'm not defining this thing. Okay, so I will go to my app.jsx, and here where is the root for that? See, this was the root for it. Okay, now what I can do is I can write optional segment with my dynamic root. So how can I do that? See, I have mentioned that after ID my name of the product will come. Okay, now I want to make this as optional. Okay, so let's save it and see if it is working or not. So let me first go to my tutorials page, then I will come to products page. Here when I click on a particular product, my URL should be updated with the name of the product, and even this page is loading, and we are just making use of one root. Okay, with one root only we are handling both the things, right? And we have made name as the optional segment. So this is very important, guys. Let's suppose one thing that you are on this page. Okay, you are getting the data of these items from an API. Now sometimes what happens is, for some of the data's API data is empty. Okay, for example, for fries, see, name is a very basic thing, so it should always be there. But just in case, let's suppose that from the API itself we are not getting the name of this data. Okay, for fries. So in that case, what will happen is when I will click on this fries will not be there. Okay, in this one. So my app will break because I have not added it as an optional segment, and it is expecting that, so it will break my application. So that is why so this is one of the use case of using optional segment. Then later on, if we want, we can also make use of this data that is there in the URL on our page. For example, if I want to show this burger name on the page, like how I have shown in the last video, I can show that way also. For that, I have to go to my product details page. I was showing my product ID is this one, so what I can do is product is, and then I can show param id dot name, product is this, and its ID is, when I'm saving it, you can see product is burger and its ID is 3. So we are getting the name from the URL and displaying it. But this is totally fine. This was just general thing which we were doing till last segment. But I hope you have understood what is optional segment. Basically, optional segment is nothing but basically it is a feature that lets a single root handle multiple URL patterns. And this is great when you want to make a part of your URL optional. Okay. So guys, I hope you now have understood what is optional segment. We have also used optional segment with static segment, with dynamic segment. So guys, with this we have came to an end of our React Router course. Hope this has helped clear things up for you and gave you the confidence to use React routing in your projects. If you found this course helpful, feel free to give a like and share it with someone who is learning React. Also, please do share your feedbacks in the comment section and don't forget to subscribe for more easy to understand dev content. Also, the playlist is linked in the description in case you want to revisit any specific topic. Thanks a lot for watching and I will see you in the next one.